Okay. Hello. Okay. Hello. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my distinguished pleasure to introduce Dr. Shelly Garcia Galvan, a distinguished scholar in modern languages with a bachelor degree in interpreting from Institute for Interpreters and Translator, and a master's in applied linguistics from UNAM. Dr. Shelly has honed his expertise as a certified Spanish teacher for speakers of other languages. For over 2 decades, she has served as an English teacher at a prestigious institute like UAM and UPN, where her commitment to excellence has inspired countless students. Dr. Shelly's research focuses on ICTs, materials development, and critical discourse analyzing in ELT textbooks. Today, we welcome Dr. Shelly Garcia Galvan as a visionary educator and a catalyst for transformative change in language education. So, thank you so much, Doctor, for accepting the invitation.
Hi, good morning. Are you having a good day? Yeah? What about you? Are you having a good day? Yes? I'm just checking up because I'm having a great day here. I'm very happy to be here with you. Thank you for the invitation. It's an honor. And be all please very welcome to this talk that is titled The Potential of English for Science Dissemination, Critical Perspectives from a Mexican Public University. So if you see in the screen, I have outlined the word critical, because it has to do with the nature and structure of our talk. So I would like to ask you, what is critical? What do you know? What do you think it is? What is critical? No? No? What is critical? What do you think it is? Well, no tiene nada que ver con ser criticón, no va por ahí, nada de viborilla, nada. Critical, I can say, has many definitions. It's a term that has many definitions. In this presentation, we're going to use it related to questioning, making questions, questioning what is happening, reality. Could you please go to number 2? Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I think we can all follow. I want to use my device, but I think it's much better here. And I'm going to use infographics throughout the whole presentation. And what I would like to present to you first here is that I'm going to make a contrast, because we were saying that we were going to be critical, right? So I'm going to make a contrast here. Can you see the contrast in green to the left? You can see a space that is called the visible, spread, and hegemonic discourse. What is this? This is not natural discourse. This is politically constructed discourse. This is what we hear, what they say. It is not that it happens like that because God says it. It is something that is constructed, and that is what is spread in the media and everywhere. This is to the left, and then to the right we have an invisible discourse that is critical discourse, that is the discourse of resistance. And I have presented 4 main questions that are going to guide the structure of this talk. And don't worry about the tiny letters. We're going to deal with them throughout the whole presentation in a bigger font. So, but I want you to see the contrast. Can you see it? Can you see the difference? It is one question with 2 dimensions, the critical dimension and the traditional one. So, can we go to next slide, please? So point number 1 has to do with English as a vehicle for the dissemination, and I would say construction of science, because one thing is to spread science, to talk about science, and the other one is to create science, which I personally think it is more important, fundamental. And at this point I want to make a disclaimer, and it is that what I'm going to present here is my personal opinion. It does not necessarily represent the perspective or the stance of the English academia here at the university. This, what I'm going to present, is my opinion. So as I was telling you, we have 4 questions with 2 dimensions. The first one is the traditional discourse. The second one is the critical discourse. And the question is, how does English contribute to dissemination and construction of science in conjunction with many other independent skills? So this is the two-side discourse. No, we know that English contributes to this, but it should contribute to that in conjunction with other skills that we as researchers or professionals have to develop. Okay, I don't know if it is clear at this point. So next, please. And to deal with this first dimension, with the traditional dimension, we have this. I have presented this infographic so that you can see how English can work in 4 main ways. That's what I consider. Number 1, it provides access to more information. What does it mean? That because of English, we can be more proficient in the reading of scientific articles and most recent bibliography, because everything is, if you want to spread internationally, you have to write in English, right? So what about lectures like this one? No. What abilities do you see that I have apart from English? No, I have English, but what else do I have, like a presenter today in this lecture? We also, because of English, can access to new academic resources and also to renowned publications. So that would be the first dimension that I find in the use of English as a linguistic means. Number 2 would be bridging. What does it mean? That it creates a bridge. It helps promote collective dialogue, like what we are doing here at the end of the talk. We can establish also connections with colleagues that work somewhere else. And we can construct networks of international collaboration and also academic exchange and joint research projects. Without last but not least, the exchange of ideas, right? So this would be like a second dimension that I find. And the third one would be international participation. It is not only to receive, it is also to give. So English, if we are proficient in it, and help us disseminate our own research to international audiences. And also, we can become active members of the global research community, and also for having parranda now and then, no? So it is great. And the last one is very important for us, like especially for you as students. It has to do with mobility. I personally have received very interesting programs and opportunities because of English, because of my comment of English. And it has to do with studying abroad and have all these experiences that go beyond the classroom. Okay, next, please. But the question now, the critical question, la pregunta incómoda is English by itself enough? Is it enough for the diffusion and construction of science? We everywhere hear what we were saying before, no? English is important, but is it by itself important? I mean, are other skills or abilities needed? Can every person that was born in English-speaking countries do it? I mean, all of the persons that are born in the United States, in Canada, travel the world. Are they researchers? Do they present? Do they construct and spread science just because they speak English? What do you think? Okay, next, please. What I personally believe is that all these skills that are not related to English proficiency are very important to develop and to spread science. Number 1, and these have the these dimensions are the ones that I identified, but we have more. I mean, these have sub-skills. Number 1, a solid communication skill. General skills to be able to talk to different audiences, and also scientific. What about creativity in storytelling? Do we have to be creative? And what about innovation, critical thinking? Do we have to do that to construct and spread science? We also have solid, up-to-date, technical, theoretical, methodological, and academic knowledge. And this has to do related to specialty fields, no, and other disciplines, because I cannot say that, well, I'm a researcher in English, or in English teaching, but I also have to know about sociology. I also have to know about critical pedagogy, all those different sciences, and even maths. If I want to develop, for example, when some teachers come to me and say, I want to present in a congress in Europe, can you help me? And I say, yes. So I have to know about his field. No, I'm an interpreter. So I have to study about other fields, and that is very enriching for me because I learn. But also it helps me create knowledge, and that is important, and it doesn't have to do with English necessarily. Not only that, it goes much more beyond that. And I think that also it is important to have the ability to deliver effective presentations face-to-face, like this one, or the ones that are digital. So we have to be proficient in doing all this apart from English. The question is, can we do this in Spanish? Do we have this in Spanish? Can we do that in English? And precision of objectivity and research skills, which, could you please go to the next one? As you can see, we have these 8, the ones, the dimensions that I have found, are divided into many, 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 many others. No, the tiny letters are difficult to see, but here I can just make it more accessible for you. Number 1 is solid communication skills, general and scientific. Remember, that was the first one that we had in the first line before, in the previous slide. So this is letter A. I have divided them into tiny ones, which is convey complex scientific concepts clearly, orally, and in paper, written. The other one would be present findings at conferences, engage in academic discussions, adapt specialized language for non-specialized audiences, because that has to do with accessibility. And if you see, there are many, many different soft skills that are important to have in mind. And if we know about them, we can face them and we can control them. Try to. Number 8 is the last one. I put it down there because it is very important for all of them. These are transversal axes that we have to consider when we are researchers. It has to do with innovations, develop novel approaches to address complex scientific problems, generate new ideas to drive scientific progress. What am I doing here now? Am I presenting you a conference on English and that's it? Or am I just presenting some new perspective on it? That is what we have to think about. And what else? Please don't go to the next one. Don't go to the next one. Wait. What do you think? Apart from all this, there is one that is basic. If you don't have it, so what is it? Don't tell me. You can think about it, but don't tell me. So can we go to the next one, please? Funding raising. If we don't have money, we can have many dreams, but it is not true that, you're very smart, you can speak English, and that's it. Not necessarily, no. As I tell you, I have had these opportunities, but penniless, without money, So I go to Europe or Canada or the United States, and I have to be asking for money, to the bank or to my family, Sometimes my family lends the money to me or lent in the past. And then I have to pay back, and then tell me, don't worry, we're going to give the money back to you in 3 months, And I said, 3 months, and I'm counting the days, And after the 3 months, you discover that it was 3 years or something like that. So it is very interesting, This, if we don't know how to do that, we're in problems. So next one, please. Let's go to question number 2. The question number 2, remember, we presented at the beginning in the structure of the general talk. The point number 2 has to do with foreign language vis-a-vis our language. A mother tongue from a critical interculturality stance. And normally I check the dissertation works of several students in another university, and I asked them, what is interculturality? You talk about it all the time, but what is it? I cannot find a single definition, so you have to include it in there. And they say, I cannot find one, And then I can find several. What do we think interculturality is about? And the question is, why should interculturality be promoted in English education from a critical stance among Mexican researchers? Amen. I like interculturality. Yeah, let's be intercultural. But what does it mean? Is it fair for me and my culture? For me, this is very important because I'm proudly Mexican. And I love my country, so I want to express something about it in other scenarios, in other arenas. No? Could we please go to number... okay, thank you. So we have this door. English is a door. We can see that. And English can help researchers access other worlds. They learn about other societies. They learn about their cultures. But can Mexican researchers spread science that clearly relates to the needs of their society? Can we show off our identity? What about the recognition of our cultural heritage? What about our social reality? Are we facing this through science and through the use of English? Are we? So please, the next one. And now I'm going to give you my opinion on what interculturality is. Now, this is something that I promote, and sometimes people say, yeah, but why are we talking in English about indigenous cultures? This is not English. And I say, no, it is a fair use of English. That's what I believe. As I tell you, it is my own perspective. No, not necessarily the other English teachers are going to think the same. This is my view. And I have arguments to support it, not to fundament it. So what is critical and decolonial interculturality? This is my favorite. I love it. I love Wash and I love her work. It is a woman that has been working on this point, and it's very important for me because it says that interculturality is a permanent process. It is not something that is in there. It is something that you are constructing, that you are negotiating based on respect, legitimacy, symmetry, fairness, equality. It is a political, social, ethical, and epistemic project. It is not something that is finished. It is a project that we participate in, and also has to do with changing the relationships, structures, conditions, and power mechanisms that maintain inequality, marginalization, racialization, discrimination, and linguistic dominance over Mexican languages. How many languages do we have in Mexico? Do you know? So how many of them have perished? Are they still alive? Why? And that is my view of what I want to do in the classroom. That is what I want to consider when I talk about interculturality. And sometimes we reject our own cultures because we don't want to listen about that. We want to know about the life in Soho, and we want to go to the Fifth Avenue, you know, with lots of dollars. But we don't know anything about our reality. Do we care? So those are the questions. And I'm a problem because I'm always questioning things. No? My children say, please stop, don't be questioning everything. And I say, well, I was raised like that. No? So what about the social role of science? What is it? Do we know? For me, it has to contribute to understanding, improving, and solving societal issues through empirical investigation and overall critical analysis. Could we please go to the next one? And then we have point number 3. Researchers from Mexican Public University making their own people's voices heard. And then the question is, how can our researchers use English? Not to serve sandwiches in a restaurant. How can we use English to improve our reality and enforce the original mission and vision of the public university in Mexico? What is the role of the public university in Mexico? Why was it raised? Do you know that the public university started in Mexico as a means to help the wealthy ones? And then it became an institution that was going to face the power of the state. Do we know this? Why is the public university so challenged? Why is the state always questioning the public university? Because it is the only power that is going to really face it. It's going to really say, stop, don't do this. We know, and we're going to say this. And you can kill as many students as you want, but the voice is going to be heard at the end. That's what I think. And my mother was a student in the 68, and then she was telling me how many students escaped through the sewage and how many families were killed. And all these things that we cannot deny that are part of our identity, part of the public university and part of what should be defended today. And how can we do this to improve the realities that we are living? Let's go, please, to the next one. The mission and the vision of the Mexican Public University, according to some authors that I have consulted, Humberto Sanchez from National University has talked about this. You're going to see that in the references. The Mexican Public University should provide accessible higher education to the general public, regardless of socioeconomic status. Promote critical thinking, intellectual development, cultural and advancement. Do all of our students have the same opportunities to study English here? We should think about that. I hear the voices of my daughter that is in UNAM, and she says, some of my classmates don't have money to buy the materials. So what are we doing? And regarding science, what is the mission and vision of science? Fostering a support environment for research, innovation, and knowledge dissemination for everyone. And cultivation of scientific talent and the advancement of knowledge. And we know that it is difficult to do this without money. So if we direct the learning of English as a means to achieve these goals, we're going to have very interesting practices. Can we please go to the next one? We have different theories that I always use to defend Spanish, because I am very proud of my language. I'm very proud of my identity. I'm a very proud person of the culture that I was born in. This was a gift, no? I didn't choose. No. So what do they say? They say that language is an expression of society's culture. And the theory of linguistic relativism says that the structure of the language has to do with our perception of the world. So we construct it on the basis of what we live. And at the same time, we construct our lives on the basis of what we say or think through language. So not mastering the language one, this is not being proficient in Spanish, I believe. This is what I believe, again, limits the preservation and transmission of one's own culture, communication among people, and the construction and dissemination of science. Why do I say this? Because they said that, because they discovered that. If we are not proficient in Spanish and we only put our eyes on the foreign world, then how are we going to get there? Because we don't have the means. Because my mother speaks Spanish. Because my friends speak Spanish when I'm a child. So we should, if we want to learn more English, I think that we should learn more Spanish and understand how the system of language works. Language as a system. No? Let's go, please, to the next one. González Arroyo, 2022. What do you think that he discovered? He discovered that there was an online test that was presented by 18,555 Spanish speakers, not only in Mexico, but some other countries too. The test was about reading comprehension, spelling, morphosyntax, and morphology. So this is like how language is constructed, how we use it like efficiently. And Spain, Chile, and Peru passed the test with the minimum passing grades. It was really bad. Then what about Mexico and Colombia? They did not pass the test. And communication skills of Spanish speakers are limited. Mexico is one of the nations with the lowest performance in Spanish. What does this mean? Can we construct knowledge from our views? If we don't manage the language, how can we do this? Okay, let's go, please, to the next one. And the fourth question is, for me, the most important. What do you think? Let's go to the next one, please. I want to finish my presentation with this saying from Paulo Freire, which I'm in love with, but don't tell him. The educator has a duty of not being neutral. My name is Shelly Garcia. I work for SALEX here at WAMI, and thank you very much. Next one, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Shelley. Your presentation was very interesting. So, is there any questions, comments, Doc?
Questions. Okay. Yes, you want to give this to him, and I'm gonna have that one.
Okay.
Yes. Thanks.
Good morning. I have like a comment.
Yes.
When you say that we need to learn more Spanish to improve our English, I remember that when I was studying in, I think, the last level of English, I was studying the third conditional, and there was this subjunctive stuff. And at the same time, I was studying French, so I remember that, okay, I know this from French, but actually, I didn't know even from Spanish what was the subjunctive. So I take a look in Spanish, what was this subjunctive, this tense of the verb, and then I realized that with what I learned in Spanish, I improved my French skills and my English skills. So yeah, it is an interesting point, and I didn't realize it. And I remember that. And thanks so much for your presentation. That's a comment I want to add. It is true that improving our languages is improving all of it, not only one. It's all comes together.
Thank you very much. It's very important, this comment that you say, because I don't tell this to my English classmates, to my English colleagues in there in Selex, don't tell them, because I'm promoting also German and French and Italian on all the languages. No, they are beautiful. I love languages. I love learning. No, and you know what? Exactly what you say. When I started learning other languages, because I don't know if it was fortunate or not fortunate, but my grandmother was a teacher. No, my mother was a doctor. She's a physician. But my grandmother was really strict. She was maestra de la vieja escuela. So, no, she was very hard on my mother. And she was, no, you have to use a comma here. And I remember that my mother says that when they were children in the grammar school, they learned Latin. So she says, no, this means this and that. And I say, well, how do you know that? And she said, because when I was a child, I was learning Latin in grammar school, in the public grammar school. So all that disappeared gradually. But when I was a child, she was like all the time on me. She was saying, no, you don't write like that. You have to use a comma in there. And this is an accent. And what is the difference between el and el, the article and the personal pronoun, no? So all these things gave me like this ability to learn French and then to learn German and then to learn English, and other languages that I have been trying to develop. No, I don't have the time, but that is very important. If you learn one language, your own language, and then try to check the relation with other languages, I personally believe that it's going to be much better because you're going to be aware of what you're doing. And you are going to identify the things that you are having in contrast to other languages. No, this structure does not exist in my language. No, like for example, I am a teacher. I'm a teacher. What do you do? I'm a teacher. In Spanish, we don't say yo soy un profesor. We say soy profesor, soy maestro. We don't say a. So when you see this contrast, because you learn that in your language it doesn't work like that, then you can master it. That's what I believe. That's what I have seen. No, I have been working for almost 30 years teaching. No, because I loved it. When I was in high school, I liked to give classes to my classmates. No, they didn't understand the class, and I said, oh, don't worry, I help you. And then I was teaching in, I don't know, it was senior high school. And it was really nice. I loved it. Thank you very much for your comment. Anyone else?
Well, thank you. Good morning. It was really interesting. What recommendation would you like to give to the young English teachers?
Young English teachers should think by themselves, out of the box, out of the book. That's what I would that's what I would say. I don't know if it's dangerous to say that, but that's what I believe. If you think out of the box, you're going to face this phenomena that is called el desadiestramiento docente. There is I love critical pedagogues, critical sociologists. I love them. No, they make my heart go wild. No, I really feel it. And this man is called Michael Apple. He is from the States, and he was saying that we are giving a book, and this book is a manual. They say, sit down, smile, to the students. Open the book. In page number 1, you're going to have this. You have to say this, and that to students. And I was wondering, when I saw that, I was feeling like a puppet, no? And I said, no, this doesn't have to do with my reality. Who wrote these books? I don't say that they are not experts, no, but the ones that are writing the books do not know about our reality. Ellos no saben lo que es subirte al metro y que te den masaje, no? I don't think they know that. So what if we learn English in order to project that? But sometimes what you find is that people don't want to talk about that because they don't like to talk about an ugly reality, something that is not comfortable. They want to talk about something that is nice. I feel better if I have a lot of dollars in my purse and I go and buy shoes than going to the bad parts of the city and seeing dogs that are being hurt. What makes me feel better? So I want to escape to the book to another reality, but are they really helping us? Why is that so many people study English for many, 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 many years, and then at the end they say, lo leo, pero no lo hablo? No? Does it happen to you? I mean, I was wondering that, and I was saying, why? I mean, I was born in a context where everybody knew English. And I remember that I was 3 years old, and I was like this tiny, and I wanted to go for food. And they said, they were very cruel. It was abuse. It was abuse because my aunt said, do you want an apple? You have to ask it in English, or you are not going to have it. And she was very mean. And I said, quiero manzana. And she said, no, in English. And I knew how to do that, but I didn't want to because it was not comfortable. And she said, if you don't say that in English, you're not going to eat. And she was very mean. And I really thank her for that. She passed away many years ago, but because of her, I am like this now, no? And I remember that no English, no food. So how many of us have this need? So we should think about that. So young English teachers, see your realities. See what we are doing. See what the needs of students are. And question and love your profession. That's what I would say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. First, thank you very much for your nice and very interesting talk. It was really enlightening. My question is very similar. What would be your advice to a young student that is about to end his degree and wants to go abroad to perfection his skills or his knowledge about science and about English? What would be your advice?
Love your country, love your community, love your people, love what you do. If you're not happy doing this, don't think that it is true that the discourse, the visible discourse says English gives you more, but much more money. I have an old car. Does it? I mean, it is not English. It is not like the magic lamp. It is a lot of abilities that you have to develop in order to do that. And English is very important. Is important, very important, because without it, you cannot move. You cannot have social mobility. You cannot have academic mobility. But if you have English, if you speak English, if you are an American person or American citizen, a Canadian citizen, just because you have English, you're not going to be a millionaire, are you? What do we need? We have to think, but we have to think from the heart. That's what I would say.
Thank you.
Another question?
Okay. No, is there not any questions or comments? Okay, so again, Dr. Shelik, thank you so much. And we have some a small gift for you.
Thank
It's
you very
from
much.
all the committee and the coordinators to support us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, in organizing this event.
initiative.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure. I am really happy to spread what we do in the coordination of the Languages Center. No, the persons. I have worked in many different universities. No, and I can say that what we have here. I always say, don't be comparing because we're always going to win. We have wonderful facilities. We have wonderful teachers. And what is more important, I consider, the processes of being hired here are more transparent than in other universities. So I'm very proud of WAM. I'm very proud of being here. And thank you for everything.
Thank you. So we passed with the other presentation. Okay.